What's going to get us closer to things being better? X, Y, and Z. Well, then let's go do X, Y, and Z. Everything else is irrelevant. We got to put our emotions aside. No matter how crazy, how chaotic it is, you got to work with the solution in mind 100% of the time. Today, we're going to be talking about a very important subject. If you're in a leadership role or you're trying to build a team or build a business or build an organization of any kind, you have to master the ability of dealing with people problems. Because when you're in the business of people problems tend to pop up. And if we do not handle these things the right way, it can lead to friction in an organization. It can lead to division. It can lead to people not trusting people. It can lead to people not trusting you as the leader. And so when it comes to dealing with people problems, we have to deal with things the right way. And so what I want to do is I want to go over 5 points with you today that will make a massive difference in your business and your ability to handle things effectively, move on, get back on track, keep the environment and or the team unified, and get to a whole nother level within your business. So let's start with number 1. You have to give people the benefit of the doubt. You can't just accuse that something that someone said is accurate and true. You got to find out the truth, and you cannot accuse people, because that's the fastest way to ruin a relationship between you and leadership and the person that you are leading, is just automatically accusing them of doing something, even though that it might just be one-sided, and even though it might just be someone's perspective. You know, one thing that I've realized over the years is that there's this person's opinion, there's this person's opinion, there's this person's perspective, there's this person's perspective, and then the truth is somewhere in between. And so whenever you're dealing with a person's problem and or a problem amongst people, you have to give the person that's in trouble and or the person that quote unquote did something incorrectly, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. You got to ask questions and not just accuse them of doing the worst. Another reason this is really important is because oftentimes you'll see people in leadership and they have a better relationship with one person over the other. And so they automatically take the side of the person that they have a better relationship with. But it doesn't mean that that's the right thing to do. And so you have to hear people out. You have to ask questions. You have to do your due diligence and go find out whether or not something is true. If you ask questions and you find out that, yeah, they did make a mistake, they did do something wrong, something is true, well, then you can address it. But what you do not want to do is accusing someone of doing something that they did not do, because now all of a sudden you affect your relationship with that person that you were trying to lead. So that's the first point. The second thing that you want to do is you want to allow people to fix the problem all on their own. So important. You know, when people bring me things, they typically come to me first, thinking that I'm going to go fix the problem for them or I'm going to go talk to their fellow teammate or sideline for them. But that's not what I'm going to do. You know, there's typically not a single negative situation that happens in my business that people don't tell me about. The difference is I just don't put myself in between the problem. What I do is I coach and I educate people on how to go solve the problem all on their own. Because if all of a sudden agent A comes to me and they have a problem with person B, and now all of a sudden I go talk to person B is going to feel like agent A was talking bad about them behind their back, which isn't good. So what I like to do is if agent A brings me something about agent B, I'm going to coach agent A on how to go have a conversation with agent B where it looks as if I was never involved and it looks as if I don't know anything at all. Because one of the worst things that causes division in an organization is people talking bad about people behind their back without going and talking to them like a man and or like a woman. And so what I want to do is I want to coach my people to go have an honorable conversation without me in the mix. Even though I know everything, I want to go encourage them to have an honorable conversation without me in the mix. So that way agent B never feels like agent A is talking bad about them behind their back. So encourage people to go have conversations all on their own. And I promise you it will keep unity within the organization. Number 3, do not overreact. No matter how bad it is, do not overreact. I want you to write this down. Calm is contagious. Calm is contagious. You want to remain calm. You know, in leadership, there's going to be so many things that pop up that you just do not agree with in any capacity. And it doesn't mean you hold your tongue, and it doesn't mean you bite your tongue and not say anything and not address the issue. It just means that you have to remain calm, or else what's going to happen is people are going to stop bringing you issues. If someone brings you an issue and you explode or you get all emotional or you allow it to affect you personally and you overreact, well, now they're never going to feel comfortable bringing you another problem again. And so if you want your people to be able to bring you problems that you can help fix, well, then they need to trust that your emotional state is going to stay sound. They got to trust that you're going to remain calm regardless of whether or not you agree. I think one of the things that's helped our organization over the years is that our people know that if they bring me something, I will not judge. I know every skeleton in the closet. I know everything about these people, and I don't judge them, right? I don't judge them. What I do is I help them try to become better. I help them find a solution. I address things. I will put things in place if there is a mistake. I have no problem suspending people. I will not just let things go. But what I will not do is I will not judge. I will not make them feel worse about who they are as a person. I will not belittle them. I will help them work towards a solution. And so one of the worst things that you can do is overreact or judge people, because then they'll never feel confident bringing you something ever again. So people need to know that if they bring you something, that you're going to still be there for them regardless of whether or not they made a mistake, or else they'll never feel comfortable explaining and or bringing up their mistakes ever again. So that's so important. So that's number 3. Number 4, work with the solution in mind. At the end of the day, there's going to be problems. People problems are going to pop up. Regular problems are going to pop up. There's always going to be problems. But us freaking out about the problem, us overreacting to a problem, us accusing somebody of doing something doesn't make anything better. The only thing that makes something better is a solution. And so regardless of what's going on, you got to put your emotions out of it and say, okay, how do we work towards making everything better? How do we move towards making everything better? And that needs to be the dominant thought on your mind. Because if your main objective is not to work towards a solution, and maybe your main objective is to prove your point or prove your point with somebody or try to make somebody feel like less, or it just doesn't make anything better. You have to figure out, all right, objective goal here, right? Make things better. Well, what's going to get us closer to things being better? X, Y, and Z. Well, then let's go do X, Y, and Z. Everything else is irrelevant. We got to put our emotions aside and we got to think with the solution in mind 100% of the time. No matter how crazy, how chaotic it is, you got to work with the solution in mind 100% of the time. And last but not least, number 5, suck the oxygen out of the problem by not talking about it. Well, what do I mean by this? If there was a fire, how do you put out a fire? You remove the oxygen. If you remove the oxygen from a fire, that fire no longer has anything to fuel off of, and it cannot stay a fire. It dwindles out and it will go away. Well, it's the same thing in the business. If you have a fire between 2 people, or you have a fire that's popping up in your business, the best thing that you can do is suck the oxygen out of it. The worst thing that you can do is feed it. Well, what is feeding the problem? Talking about the problem, gossiping about the problem, telling other people about the problem, bouncing ideas about the problem with other people. The more people are thinking about it, the more they move towards it. The more people are thinking about it, the more they talk about it. And so if you want to remain trustworthy in leadership, when people bring you things, it cannot spread. Nobody can hear about it. And what happens is all of a sudden people bring something to the leader, and the leader thinks, oh, I can trust this person. I'm going to bounce this problem by him. Oh, I can trust this person. I'm going to tell them about this problem in secret. But then what happens is they tell another person in secret. They tell another person in secret. They tell another person in secret. And now all of a sudden this problem spread like wildfire. And that leads to the people that brought you the problem not being able to trust you ever again, because they found out that their dirty laundry got aired to everyone, because as a leader, you added oxygen versus sucking the oxygen out of it. And so if you want to handle a problem quickly in your business, do not feed it. Do not feed it. People bring it to you, put together a solution, and don't tell a friend. Don't tell your spouse. Don't tell anyone. The more people that know about it, the more people that are thinking about it, the more people think about it, the more people talk about it, the more people talk about it, the bigger the problem gets, and the more likely it is for it to happen again. So remember, if you want to get rid of a problem, suck the oxygen out of it and don't tell a single soul. And so hopefully today helped. You're going to have a lot of people problems that pop up in your business, especially if you're in leadership, and especially the bigger your team and or organization gets. And it's your ability to handle these problems properly that's going to lead to a unified environment that continues to get things done and continues to go and do what they need to do each and every single day. The bigger problems are, and or the more problems there are, right, the less effective your business becomes. The less problems there are, the more effective your business becomes. So let's get better at this. Let's improve. And I promise you, it will allow you to scale with all the unity in the world. And so if you got something out of today's content, if you could do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, tell somebody about it. We put out all this information for free. All we ask is that if you ever learn something, you tell a friend. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week. Let's get it.